and how's everyone doing today? And I decided I might as well kind of combine this video into everything. I had an absolute horrific night terror last night, and it has rattled me so bad that I decided to do a quick little video over this while I have the house to myself. So I've tried to set up the camera that is as comfortable for me as possible while still being able to actually capture what I'm going to draw here. But before I get into that, uh, yeah, with all the predictions that and videos that I was putting on my Glasses Geek, little page here, um, yeah, I bet you'll never hear like a psychic or a fortune teller or a future teller, whatever you want to call them. I bet you'll never hear them say this. Um, I am so glad that the things that I was seeing, the things that I was, channeling, because that's literally what it was. And I wasn't channeling on purpose. This wasn't something, you know, I've been raised Christian and I've been raised to never channel, because if you do channel, then you're just entertaining demons and evil spirits. It doesn't matter if you're trying to channel Jesus Christ, it's evil. So I wasn't doing this on purpose, you know. It was just happening. And apparently I'm a channeler. But thankfully, a lot of the stuff that I get, a lot of the answers that I get, info that I get, never happen. I mean, it never happens, thankfully. And yeah, so sorry, I'm thinking about what I'm drawing. Like, wait a minute, this isn't working out physically. So, anyway, so yeah, I am so incredibly glad that what I channeled and the info I was given was incorrect, like it usually is, or at least it usually was. It every once in a while, what I'm told will suddenly be true, and it's always been bad. It's never been anything positive. It's never been anything positive. And when it suddenly is true, I don't know if the stars have to line up. I don't know if energy has to line up. I don't know what it is, but it's really horrible, and I really get upset when I'm correct and when it's true. I'm not happy about that at all. Um, I've seen really positive and happy things too, but those have never even come close to happening. So never, you know, and I've seen a whole lot of personal things for myself, uh, that info that I've been given, and it's never even come close to even being like that. So, but yeah, it's not fun when I'm told things and they actually end up happening. So, but that's the road that it looked like we were going down. So I am so glad that that Biden won, that Trump is not going to be in office. Hopefully the death count will go down now from this coronavirus. Hopefully, I still don't have any faith in that. If you want to be really technical, the stuff that I did see does line up. The guy in the blue suit, who has the sheepskin of a Democrat, but he's actually a Republican. That really does line up with Biden perfectly. But for the moment, I'm going to ignore that and just say that what I saw and what I felt was completely incorrect. And I really hope that that is the case. And then on another note here, and I'm just going to point blank say it, through channeling and information, I found out that this nation does employ witches to do witchcraft. And they are very, flat out fascist. They're downright Republicans, and they fight very hard against uh, all types of Democrats, and especially Democrat witches. So if you're a Democrat today, especially if you're a liberal and you're progressive, you're probably being attacked very heavily, like I am, especially if you were very loud on social media. even if all you did was retweet other people's tweets or Instagrams and whatnot. Um, they have a very strong fight against us, and I know that. So, put up your protections, gird yourself for that, and whatnot. So there we go. Uh, but yeah, I just had to deal with that right off the bat. So anyway, so I can't even recall now what I was really gonna like make this video about, other than I was ripped out of sleep last night by this horrific nightmare. And it was of something, it was pure black. I don't know. It's, in the spiritual world, it's like everything is in grayscale, I guess if you want to call it that. There are completely and totally black entities, there are white entities, and then there's nothing in color really, especially when you deal with the darker side, as they call it, of spiritual stuff, spiritualism. I'm trying to shade this in here. And actually I'm gonna have to, this is literally this thing literally looked like something out of a video game. By the way, I don't play video games. I have never played video games. I am outside of that generation. I'm 40 years old. The only video games I ever really played, for a while there, I got sucked into Minecraft, and I used to play, I actually bought a Duck Hunt and a Super Mario Brothers, but that was the only thing I ever managed to play in my entire life. I never even got to play Zelda. My brother and sister played Zelda, but I never got to play that because I was too old by then, and that was their game systems and not mine. So, and how they got their hands on that, I still don't know to this day. But anyway, so they wouldn't let me touch their game systems. And by the time they tried to force me to play Zelda, I was too old and too uninterested. So I have never played video games in my entire life. I hate scary movies. I despise all things scary. I despise all things dark and creepy. But you know what? I'm kind of like Mulder or Scully from the X-Files in that darkness just keeps chasing me. That's a line from the X-Files that I think Mulder told. No, I think the woman told to. Was she Scully or was she Mulder? I can't even remember this now because I only just recently managed to watch X-Files within the past, well, since about 2013, 2014 or so. So, so that'd be about 5 years or so, since it's 2020, maybe 6. So, yeah, I just recently got to actually watch X-Files because had a, Netflix and all. It was on Netflix for a while there. Anyway, the woman mentioned to the guy how darkness just seems to chase him, or chase them. It's like no matter how hard they fight to get into the light or just basically like away from all this terrible stuff, it just doesn't work, you know? And that seems to be my problem, majorly. I don't know why. I am this house that I'm recording in right now. I'm not in the worst parts of it, and I don't want to talk about this stuff in the worst parts of it. Oh God. Well, actually, that's more accurate. I mean, not the smearing, but I might as well just blend it. I'm sorry if I'm talking too close to the sound on this camera. I am talking on one side of it, so yeah, there is that. So I'm sorry about that. I'm recording this with my phone, and I'm trying to keep this stuff on camera, on screen here. So I have the camera turned in such a way so that I can't see what it's seeing at all. So anyway, so yeah, for no rhyme or reason, none at all, I was ripped out of sleep at 5 a.m. by this black entity, completely black, and it called itself a Death Eater, like something off of, what is that? Harry Potter. I don't know why it called itself a Death Eater, and I really don't care. And after being ripped out of sleep by this thing, I went on one heck of an internet search and could not find it, could not find anything. I even searched the term Death Eater, and of course, all I got was Harry Potter. So I'm not happy about that. I couldn't find one damn bit of info about this creature. And this is literally what its head looked like. It had absolutely no eyes. It had a great big gaping, and the mouth wasn't clear white like this. It was like light gray, like this is right here. And this part of its head was actually black, like pure black. And let me see if I can even draw the limbs. I made the head. I should have actually, I've actually been taught in art class. I think I'll go ahead and I'll start. I'm going to do an actual better rendition of this here. Actually draw it out. Probably, because it really did have a huge head compared to its body, but its body was really lanky too. So, and I had to teach myself how to draw the human form, so I'm literally going on that right now. Okay. Size down the head at least a little. I guess you could call it a Slender Man, sort of. It had these really long hands. Really long hands. I don't know if there we go. Had these really long hands. The feet weren't, they were feet, but it was literally like some movie horror sketch. And I don't watch video games. I swear I've seen, this looks familiar from what I've seen on like advertisements, I guess. And I'm just wondering, what the heck? Because every time this feels like a spiritual attack, and why I would, I've never seen one of these things before. And I really just don't know what to make of the whole thing. It really creeped me out. It had kind of like it was supposed to be strong sort of torso or something. It literally looked like a bad artistic rendition of God knows what, And the fingers came down to claws, the absolute claws. It had all kind of rounded parts like that. Now that I'm looking at this drawing, I'm going, oh, that's rather alien. I wonder if it was the ghost of an alien entity, Like an extraterrestrial kind of thing. But it was really creepy. It had no eyes, it had no face, no nose, no anything, but it did have a mouth, a great big gaping mouth. I don't know why, I decided to talk about that here, and it makes me wonder, how come some people in life seem to be automatically, I don't know what else to call it, automatically connected to, as Abraham Hicks calls it, source or the universe, as Christians call it, Jesus Christ or the Holy Spirit or, Mother Mary, the virgin that gave birth to Jesus, or, and how come some people automatically seem to be connected to, as I've heard it called, divine white light or divine clear light or divine golden light, How come some people are connected to just good things and they never experience anything negative at all. And how come some people like me seem to be automatically connected to uh, evil and negative things, and all we ever do is experience negative, bad stuff, and we end up living in places like this house that are exceedingly dark and exceedingly haunted and just have very bad feelings, and very bad vibes. And you can just tell that who knows what happened here, because that's the unfortunate thing. There's no way to tell what happened at a house, or, you know, I mean, there's even Native American burial grounds and stuff like that houses have been built on top of, and you don't get to find that out. They don't tell you that before you buy the house. I mean, that's what I don't like about every last state in this nation, that they don't have on the books, where you have to just, be open and disclose to the buyers. There's more. Darn, the shoulders are all wonky. But he didn't have square shoulders. It was more like that. Arms are all wonky too. That's more. But yeah, I don't like how, in fact, I don't know any nation where you're required to say, yeah, just to let you know, this house was rented out, and there was a lot of people doing Satanist activities here, or the person here was arrested for, I mean, you literally, you don't even get to find out if a homicide happened in your residence before you buy it. And that really should be part of literally like the inspection process. Like, did anything creepy happen here? Was there like a sex ring that happened here before this house was like suddenly, put on the market for rent or put on the market to buy? Did like some massive, 4 people get murdered here? Was there like someone here sacrificing animals, or, you don't get to find out any of that. You don't even get to find out if it was buried on Native American, if it was built on Native American burial ground, which is, I just think that's wrong. You really should be able to find out, what the heck was up with your house, what might have happened there before you ever move in. And it'd be really nice if it was possible to have the finances to have the whole place, whatever, torn down or what have you. And something new built, so that way you don't have to put up with such things, if something such as building a new house would work. There. That's what I have so far. It's not correct, but whatever. Once I started putting pen to paper, as they call it, pencil actually to paper, even though it literally looked like a bad artistic drawing and something straight out of, I don't know what else to call it, like a horror movie or a video game. And the head is not centered on the neck. I have to recenter the head. Because if nothing else, at least the head was centered correctly. And it was weird. He had a bulbous head. It went out like that. It went out like really big. This is really looking more and more alien the more I actually draw this. But I'm telling you, this thing is evil. So it creeped the crap out of me. So yeah, how come some people are just, they get the joy of being connected to love and light and happiness their whole lives, and they're never bothered by such things like this? And how come some people are just like spiritual doorknobs and They don't see or feel or hear or anything. I mean, they can literally be in a place where the furniture moves on its own, things shake, noises happen, lights go on and off constantly, and they don't see anything, they don't hear anything, they don't feel anything. It's like, how can you not, that chair just moved on its own, and they literally won't get freaked out, and they won't care, and they can literally have shit like flying around them. And it's not like they're just like so worn out or tired or whatever. I mean, they don't feel it. Usually when you got stuff like that going on, you can feel it. There's a definite spiritual, you can feel it in the air and in the atmosphere. There's no ignoring it. Plain and as simple as that. There is just no ignoring it. And it's getting better. I'm not going to be able to do this justice because the annoying thing is that this thing was very much in 3D, and now I'm trying to render it in a very flat 2D. Yeah, I try to keep it on camera here, sorry. I'm trying to render it in a very flat 2D sort of thing. And I know I'm doing a lot of, what Sips call it, Lego talk right now, where I'm just kind of babbling and letting my thoughts roam as I sit here and try to color this. But I really don't like the idea that you can't find out what happened in your apartment or your house or, the duplex or whatever it is you're renting or you're about to buy. That you don't, I mean, it's bad enough if you're a renter and you don't get to find out, but if you're buying the property and you don't get to find out what happened there, even if there was like some massive, like all the neighbors know about this huge, horrible murder that happened. But guess what? You're new to the neighborhood. And even though you're actually going to purchase that property, you don't get to find out at all. And if you want to find out anything about that house that you're about to buy, good luck looking it up, because I tried looking up the records for this house because this house is so bad. I literally looked up the records for it and I couldn't find anything other than twice it went into estate. So that means that twice the owners of it died and the state actually got it. And there's no info about the previous owners, what they might have died from, what caused their death, what happened, nothing at all. I do know that one of the previous people that owned this property actually died in the Murrah building bombing. I do know that another previous owner of this property supposedly was involved with 9/11 somehow. The husband was like a pilot or something. And I don't know. From what I've gotten from channeling, supposedly a Satanist lived here and he was actually sacrificing animals in the front 2 bedrooms. And I'm wondering if this house seemed to be like an extra property that was used for, let's just say magical purposes. Sorry, my phone went off. But let's just say magical purposes. But see, as I jumped there, that's why I don't like scary things, and that's why I don't watch scary anything. I couldn't even take The Sixth Sense when I was little because it just terrified me so bad. Because when you have like weird stuff bugging you, and I just want to say, in the last house that I lived in, I think we moved into there when I was 16 and a half, about. The last house that I lived in, with my family, despite how badly they treated me and despite how bad everything was for me, that house made me feel good. And there were like 3 entities that head is way too big. There were like 3 entities that like met me at the door, but they were good and they decided to heal me and make me feel better, and that just, meant everything in the world. And spiritually and mentally and emotionally, except for the way my family was treating me, things got better for me in that house. Things got really, really, really good for me in that house. In fact, I fell actually in love with that building and that house and that structure. I never had any, nightmares or night terrors that I got to say that I didn't bring on myself or that weren't caused by my family members. I was never bothered in any way. Now I got to switch over to this. I was never bothered. Is it still? Yep, 25 minutes. Sorry. I was never bothered in any way at all whatsoever. I was really, really happy. I love the people, I don't know, the spirits. I love the spirits that lived there. I don't know who the spirits were or what they were. All I know is that they were three women and they were my best friends. They're still my best friends to this day. I wish I could have stayed in that house, but it really was time for me. I don't know. It really was time for all of us to move on, I guess. It was a rental, but my family stayed in it for, geez, I want to say either 5 or 8 years. I'm not sure which. I can't recall. Okay, so we moved into this house when it was 2004 and I was 24 years old. And we moved into that other house when I was about 16 and a half. Let's just round it off to 17. So from the age of 17 to 24, basically, we lived in that house because halfway through the year 2004, I single-handedly had to move my parents' entire everything into this house because that's just how they roll. So, and it was horrible. And interestingly enough, in this house, before I even walked into it the first time, 3 dark beings, demons, literally demons, evil spirits, whatever you want to call them, I call them demons, met me at the door and told me, don't come in. They didn't want me coming in, but it's not like I had a choice, It all comes down to money. So, I mean, there's a reason why I've been trying to get out, but with the 2008 crash and kidney disease and everything, my life has not worked out for me, to say the least. But yeah, so this is what woke me up last night. This is what traumatized the hell out of me. And I don't know why it bothered me. It even said that it was going to suck my mom's brains out. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. And I had a great big smile like this too. And I don't like it. And I don't know what this stuff could be. But I really do wish it would stop. And I've never encountered anything like this before. And here I'll move the camera so you can, once I'm done here, so you can actually see it. The mouth didn't reach the edges of the face, but it came real close. Yes. And so I'm wondering if anyone has seen anything like this before. This video was really rambly, and I didn't even remember what I was going to say initially, sadly, terribly, and unfortunately. Oddly enough, though, just drawing this, sorry about the camera. Oddly enough, though, just drawing this, there we go, has made me feel a lot better. Just, that's kind of basically what I saw last night. Except it was pure black against, it was like its body was a sucking void, but not. That's what all these dark entities are. And there was definitely evil emanating from it. and which is what bothers me the most, the creepy feeling that I get from it. And yeah, it's interesting that everything evil, or at least like when you go into the evil side of life, if you want to call it that, it color gets wiped away. And if color is used at all, it's usually red. I've heard of blue. I have heard of green, but it's usually red if there's any color at all. So, yeah. So I don't know what to think. I don't know what to think. And then when I woke up finally this morning, um, yeah, darn it, I shouldn't have put this is not, it is. But yeah, it called itself a Death Eater. And then when I woke up early this morning, because I actually managed to fall back to sleep after seeing this, believe it or not, I saw a black entity that was, there we go. It was all limbs. It had no head, and it was really shaped like, here we go. It was shaped more like this. And it was pure black, just like this thing. It was like made out of human parts, but it wasn't human. It's like its limbs, it was like, it didn't make sense. It was like a hand and then a foot like that. And then like a foot over here and a hand over here. I mean, I'm sorry, but the crap that I'm going through in this house could make a really good horror movie. But, except for actually recording this stuff. So yeah, sorry about that phone call, but except for actually recording this stuff and letting someone else write the script, I don't know. I don't know what to think about this. I'm just putting it out there. So if anyone's seen this, whether it's in a video game or a horror movie or in real life, please let me know. Let me know what the heck this is and what's going on. or any info that you might have. And if you don't have any info, that's fine. Just let me know if you've seen this thing or this thing or anything like it, So yeah, that's it. I don't know how to end this or what all, but thanks for stopping by. This is just a random vlog that I absolutely had to do because this creeped the crap out of me. And this is a lot cleaner and a lot better looking than it looked in real life, but also in real life it was 3D and it was constantly moving. It was never still. So, and it had many fingers. It didn't just have a thumb and the hand and the fingers. Which is all because if you put the human hand like that, that's the angle that I drew this thing at, like it's hanging its hand like that. But it had a lot of fingers, just like the human hand has, except they were really long and spindly. So it was, how do I guess I can kind of draw a human hand here. I never draw shit. So the thing is that its hand was not shaped like a human's hand. Human's hand is shaped like this, you know. Its hand was more, okay, so this is the shape of a human hand. Its hand wasn't really like that. It was more like it didn't have this opposable thumb. It was more like it just had 5 fingers, sort of, and it decided to try to use this finger as an opposable thumb. It definitely had a shorter digit like we have. Our thumb is incredibly short, but it's also very strong and it's also sticking out at the side, therefore opposable. So it's thumb, if you will, was short like our thumb is, very much so, but it was just like our fingers, so that it was long. So how do I so it's not going to look like a hand when I draw it here, but you kind of get the idea. And it had different sized fingers just like we have, so it was kind of more like that. So, and I know that's not coming through on camera. I wish I could, but it had a real sketchy artistic quality to it, just like, just like darkness itself decided to sketch itself into breathing, living form. And I think it's thumb, if you want to call this a thumb. I mean, it was definitely a thumb, but I don't know what else. There we go. That's correct. Because it looked like a human thumb in shortness, I guess you could call it, but it was just like the fingers, So this is as accurate as I can get. And it shaped its claws into, I mean, they came down to points. They looked exactly like the banshee hands that I saw when I was kicking from giving too much, from giving blood, period, because they took a full pint out of me. And because that's what they do, they take a full pint, they don't take a half a pint. In fact, I dare say they took 2 pints. But and its fingers did have, they did become thick, and they were like they did have the rounded web thing like human hands here. Like human hands, they were rounded just like that, and just like how our fingers come to a point, its fingers came to a point, except ours are rounded at the tip. Its fingers just kept going and going and going to the point where it formed a tip. So I know I'm all Asperger's and OCD, and details are very, very important to me. There we go. That's more what it looked like. Just having this terrifies me. Suddenly there's something in my mind that I'm recognizing here in this. Sorry, in that right there. Here, if I put the camera over on this side, then all you're going to see is the back of my hand coloring. You're not actually going to see what I'm trying to get across. And I can't. The thing about this is that if this is, I mean, granted, I was waking up from being asleep. There we go. That's better. I was waking up from being asleep. So to see this thing, like almost physically see it when you're waking up, I mean, that makes sense, but still, it's really creepy. And so you can very much easily say, well, this is a product of the mind, but my question is, how come it comes with feelings, literally feelings of evilness, and how come it would talk to me and respond to me? I can't remember if all this webbing You know, I can't remember if it all went straight across like it does for me, or if it went at an angle as it does with some people's hands, or if it was just all over the place. I remember these little webbings in between the fingers. I remember these little things changing. Like sometimes they'd be straight across, sometimes they'd be all over the place because its form was constantly changing. But it was mainly staying like this. It never had eyes, it never had ears, never had a mouth. I mean, sorry, it never had a nose. It always had a mouth. It never had a nose. It never had eyes. Never had eyes. Yet it acted like it could see perfectly clearly. It never had ears, but it had a huge gray gaping mouth, and its whole body was black. And I mean, I would much rather be fascinated than terrified. I'll tell you that. Thankfully, now I'm starting to get just downright curious, you know, but I still don't like it, and I don't like the idea of it. And yes, good argument could be made that it's a product of the mind, but I don't watch scary stories. I've never seen anything like this before. But the back of my mind keeps telling me that this is like something out of a video game that I saw once, or some. I mean, I've never watched horror movies, but it does look like something out of a horror movie. So I don't know. And its thumb was definitely shorter than the pinky. So there we go. I don't know. I'm not gonna get this hand correct. I'm just not. I'm gonna leave it because but it had a real sketchy quality, the hand. That's kind of what the hand looked like, not at all at the exact same time. I don't know. The palm of the hand was extremely long and lanky and thin, and so were the fingers. They were long and lanky and thin, and they came down to claws. They weren't blunt like our fingers are. They weren't like kind of chopped off like our fingers are. Um, and I don't know. I don't know what to think. So. I'm sorry about that. We get calls all the time that are obviously, as the shows, they're spam, they're phishing, they're literally. Oh dear Lord, I can't believe that. Well, I might have to edit that up anyway. Um, since no one watches a 40-minute video, I'm pretty much safe in posting this, hopefully. So just ignore the background, the background phone. And yeah, I don't know how to end this. This is just a random vlog about an absolute night terror that ripped me out of sleep last night, and I don't like it. And there you go. There's the info. So I don't know. Bye, I guess.